Hey there, MrQuora here. Welcome to another episode of Did You Always Wanted to Know? In today's video we will get to know what happens immediately before and after a person dies. Sounds interesting, isn't it? So why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, to encourage me to keep bringing such interesting videos for you. By the way, if you are new to this channel, please click that subscribe button, and do not forget to also click that bell icon as well, to get notifications of all our upcoming videos. Oh, by the way, if you subscribe to this channel and write subscribed in the comments below, I will give you a shout out in one of my next videos. Now it is time to get started then. According to occult theories, immediately before death, I mean the very last moments before dying, the entire life lived from birth until this last moment, as recorded in the brain, plays back to the dying person in a flash. One relives all the emotions and thoughts, even the fleeting ones, experienced over the entire life, but in just a flash. It goes away as quickly as it starts, as the brain in a final burst of energy spills out its entire content before the dying consciousness. All this happens involuntarily, and unfailingly with everyone. At that moment one is simply unaware that he is dying. In certain conditions, one may know he is about to die a few minutes earlier, but not at the very last moment. At that moment he will not know what is happening and why it is happening. He will actually have no time to think and analyze it. Death happens immediately afterwards. Immediately after death, I repeat, in the immediate moments after death, there is a brief period of unconsciousness. It is as if you have gone to sleep very soundly without dreams, or as if one has been administered anesthesia. How long one takes to awake from this brief period of unconsciousness or trance varies from person to person. In some cases it can be a few minutes, rare, or even a few hours. You may consider 8 to 12 hours as an indicative period. One begins to awake, or regain consciousness after this period of unconsciousness in the astral world. This too is a gradual process, spread over a few hours or until the body has been cremated or buried. During this period the haze of the etheric body still covers the consciousness, and someone who has not studied about after-death conditions can even panic as the etheric veil begins to crack, and one gets a peek of a weird and unfamiliar surrounding of the astral world. Some religions, like Hinduism, therefore recommend cremation instead of burial, as quickly as possible. The hidden reason for this is not too widely known, that the etheric double must be burnt and destroyed, before the etheric veil begins to crack. Therefore, a sound advice for Hindus would be not to even wait for the sun if he is away for carrying out cremation. Do it as quickly as possible. This advice cannot be given for other religions where burying the dead is a customary. Here the advice is, follow the after-death rituals, whatever you believe in, as heartfully as possible. That helps in reducing the unfortunate after-death attachments of the dead with the living, and serves as a farewell. After cremation or after the etheric veil has been fully discarded, even if one hasn't been cremated, one's consciousness awakens in the astral world. It is somewhat like gaining consciousness after the effects of anesthesia had subsided. This takes some time, perhaps a few hours, I guess. Then comes a period of unfamiliarity and awkwardness. One is naturally attracted to one's own emotional feelings, first of the grossest type, or disturbing emotions he or she had generated or had been acquainted with during earth life. These are strong sexual passions, carnal desires which cannot now be fulfilled, anger, hatred, vengeance and emotions of that kind. It is suffering indeed, as one gets sucked into them with seemingly no respite. The suffering is therefore a lot indeed, and the time seems not to end. Therefore it is called hell, though there is no such locality called hell. But much before all this suffering or hell begins, something else happens. The dead person is still around us after his death, in the same physical space or say the home or wherever the death has happened. At first it experiences all the emotions of those mourning her or his death. So it is said not to mourn for the dead, because your mourning affects the dead one too, and it really affects them a lot. That's because their feelings are far more magnified in the astral world, which is a world of emotions and feelings in just the way the physical world is a world of physical objects. The dead person is able to see us, not with eyes, but in a strange way. The recognition or understanding that one has actually died and is no longer a living person, does not come about immediately. And, to begin with, this can become very puzzling for the dead person. It is not uncommon to find the dead person sitting on an unoccupied chair or lying down on his old bed, and then become surprised when someone else comes and sits on the same chair, right upon him and sinks into the chair. The dead person may find this very offensive initially, and then wonder why it is happening. The dead person will also wonder why someone else is sleeping on his bed, and where he wishes to lie down. Of course, he doesn't need to sit down on a chair or go to his bed, but the dead person does not understand that. He does it or tries to do it out of habit. He will also try to communicate, but find that communication has now become impossible. No one will seem to listen to him. Initially, the dead person just cannot figure out why all this is happening, unless he is alert and observing. But this observation is difficult, unless he has practiced the art of observation when living. So, it may take some time, perhaps a few days, for the dead person to recognize that he is now dead or departed. Gradually, his attraction to his old home and family will keep reducing. He will soon come in contact with those who have died recently, known or even strangers, who still happen to be in the astral world realms after their death, and not yet gone to the next phase after death into the heaven world. They can communicate between themselves quite easily, and without having to know worldly languages. Even after death, of course, one can have friends and enemies. Some cluster together in groups, and different groups tends to avoid each other in the way we do in life. So, there can be strong likes and dislikes after death too. The dead person will also come in contact with strange creatures or entities in the astral world with whom they have been unfamiliar in life. They will meet ghosts, and learn how harmless they are, unless they begin to panic. They can even encounter dangerous entities. There are too many types of inhabitants in the astral world, and they will slowly learn to avoid them. They will soon have company and friends, and things will get better and still better as time goes by. Then a second death happens, and they will enter the heaven world. Let me not go into what happens after that. The answer is already too long, and the entire interest in this question was to know what happens immediately before and after death. I have gone a little too far beyond that. So me end here today. Hope you have liked today's video. Until my next video, take care, stay safe and goodbye.